Hey there, fellow explorers of the digital realm. Today we're diving headfirst into the heart of one of the most pressing questions of our time. How are people surviving in this roller coaster of an economy? Get ready, because we're about to embark on a journey of discovery unlike any other. In this video, we'll be treating our senses to a feast of reactions as we watch and listen to our friends from across the United States share their experiences and insights on navigating the tumultuous waters of today's economy. From soaring prices to job insecurity, we'll be hearing it all straight from the source. But here's the twist. We're not just here to spectate. Oh no, dear viewers, we're in for a treat. Once we've soaked up all the wisdom and first-hand accounts, we'll roll up our sleeves and dive deep into the nitty-gritty. That's right, we'll be breaking it down piece by piece to uncover the strategies, innovations, and survival tactics that are helping people weather the storm. So why should you stick around? Well, besides the fact that you are in for a riveting ride, we'll also be exploring how individuals are getting creative in these challenging times. From side hustles to innovative solutions, we'll be serving up a buffet of ideas on how to not just survive, but to thrive in the midst of economic uncertainty. So settle in and get ready for an eye-opening experience. And remember folks, the journey doesn't end when the videos stop playing. Stick around until the very end as we unpack it all and chart a course towards a brighter, more resilient future. Let's do this.
How are people affording life right now? How are people tackling this cost of living on the average American salary? I just watched a TikTok of a teacher who makes a teacher's salary. I don't know what state she's in, so I don't know how much she makes, but her one-bedroom apartment is $2,000. And when she spends $2,000 on that one-bedroom apartment, it doesn't even come with a washer and dryer. So she has to go pay an additional $2 every time she wants to use their washer and dryer. Okay, like, how does that leave her any extra money to spend? And then she said she had a $400 car payment, which some people were bashing her on that. But in today's economy with interest rates, that's really not that bad. And I'm sure she needs a dependable car. So you talk about teacher's salary, $2,000 in rent, $400 car payment. You got insurance, you got groceries, electricity. Like, I don't understand how people are affording life right now, and it really makes me sad for some people. You have people who are like her. She's single, she has her own salary, or families where it just works out best for them for the mother to stay home. And if the father is just making an average American salary, how are they affording life without going in a bunch of debt? This lady who's a teacher started crying because she said she realizes on her salary and where she lives, she will actually end up in more debt. Then, like, she will just continue to accrue more debt and more debt and more debt because her salary is not matching the cost of living. And what's sad is I've seen people be like, just spend less. Listen, guys, the cost of living is rising and our salaries are stagnant, okay? So there's not just spend less. That's not the problem here. The problem is the cost of living is outrageous, and minimum wage in some states is still $7.25. Teachers in some states are still paid a ridiculously low salary, even though their job is super important. I don't know what we can do about this, but I'm just going on a rant because it really...
No, because let's talk about it. Do you want to know how little my life has changed since I went from making $60K a year to over $100K? People keep asking me, oh my gosh, like, what designer bag are you going to get first? Or like, where are you traveling to first? You know what I can afford now? Therapy. Taking my cats to the vet. I can afford to go to the local butcher and the farmer's market versus going to like a No Frills or like a Food Basics. I can afford new glasses, and I can afford to go to the dentist. I can pay more than just the minimums on my credit card debt. It's so crazy to me that these things are what's costing me more money and I can actually afford them. This stuff should be accessible to everyone. Like, everyone should get access to fresh produce and going to therapy and like getting glasses, taking your pets to the vet. In my opinion, the things that I'm spending my money on is not part of like a lifestyle inflation. It is just genuine basic necessities that I think everybody deserves access to. It's so crazy to me that as a kid, I dreamed of making six figures. Like, having a six-figure corporate job was my absolute dream. And now I'm realizing like $100K does not take you far at all.
We're not. Truth of the matter, most of us are living paycheck to paycheck with credit card debt. I know people who are legitimately putting gas and groceries on credit cards just so that they can get back and forth to work. I believe that this is what most people are now calling the silent depression. $100 has become the new $20, and it's ridiculous, but the best thing about it is that people have shifted their core values. Look at this app alone and all the videos of all the retailers on Black Friday that nobody was there. They just don't care anymore. People are realizing that if it doesn't bring value into my life, then I don't need it. And while I don't get political on this app, you're having people on both sides of the aisles going, Yeah, this kind of sucks. Right wing, left wing, it doesn't matter. It's the same bird. And now so many Americans are going, I truly just, I don't care. I think it's woken a lot of people up to the idea of why are we funding things that we don't care about when all of us right here are struggling. It's changed the people's attitude in the workforce to where a job is just a job. You used to be very loyal to a job, but they've seen that there's no employee loyalty because there's no employer loyalty. People aren't putting up with toxic bosses anymore. You're either going to treat me right or I'm going to leave, because there's tons of companies that are hiring because nobody can find help. People just don't trust the system anymore, and they're starting to focus on what matters the most. Most people are out here making more money than they ever have and realizing that it's not going anywhere. So they're just not spending it. And what has made a lot of people turn their back on the system is that now they somehow either make too much or not enough money to qualify for the government assistance that they've been paying into their entire life. There are people out there who can't afford to buy the groceries, but they make too much money to get the food stamps. A lot of people are out here calling it the depression. I like to call it the awakening. People are just realizing how much they can get done on their own and that they don't need the government to hold their hand. So to go back to your question, how are people making it? Financially, I don't really know, but I'm very grateful that people are starting to look for answers.
Okay, we could have a whole conversation on this, and people have, and they've said things a lot more eloquently than I could, so I thought I'd offer a piece of advice that has really helped me get my spending and my finances more under control in the past few months. Because, full transparency, I was out of control there for a while, and I was living off credit cards, and it was so stressful and detrimental to my anxiety and mental health. And the biggest thing that I've had to learn is just telling myself no. Like, I saw a video by a creator on this app the other day that was so funny. She's like, all these like normal people getting like beauty treatments every single month, like your nails, full set of lashes, waxes, like so on and so forth. She's like, who do you think that you are? And that's the mindset I had to get out of. Like, I am a normal person and I need to learn to say no to myself and delay gratification for things, because I promise you, like, it is not normal to go to Aritzia or Sephora or even Target and drop like a couple $100s on a random day of the week. What is normal is putting things that you want on a wish list and like revisiting that, you know, a birthday, Christmas, like when you get a raise at work. But it's not normal to just gratify yourself instantly by getting every single thing that you want. And I think that we're all so chronically online, and like all of us are on TikTok and we're seeing like influencers do hauls all of the time. So we think like, oh, other people are doing that, so like if they're able to afford it, then I must be able to as well. And I think first and foremost, so many people are living on credit cards and they're not talking about it. Secondly, a lot of influencers are like getting stuff for free, or honestly just making a ton of money off the app, so they have way more disposable income than the average person. But yeah, I tell you what, just like learn to tell yourself no. Sometimes you got to reparent yourself, because the crushing anxiety of having like debt or just like financial concern hanging over your head, it will not be solved by the short-term gratification of buying everything that you want. I promise you that.
I want to talk about this because this is a little crazy to me, and it's just from my perspective. So I'm making the most I've ever made in my life, which is $50,000 a year salaried. So I have in the background here is my like monthly spending, monthly income. I make about $1,248 every 2 weeks. So after taxes and insurance, that's what it comes to, about $2,500 a month. My rent and utilities, because I have to pay for utilities, is about, $1,320 to like $1,350. My car payment, $420. I know that sounds like a lot. I have a good car. It's reliable. I'll drive it into the ground. I'm really not upset about that. Car insurance, about $200 because I'm under 25, so it's a little more expensive. Renter's insurance, $12. Pet insurance, $45. Electricity, $40. Wi-Fi, $35. And then some subscriptions here that, I just have because I enjoy them, right? What's life if you can't enjoy some things? So I spend about $2,100 a month, and I have about $300 left over. Now, the bottom here is where we really just kind of get into some crazy things. I try to only spend $200 a month on groceries, $60 on gas, and $30 on like pet stuff. So I have a dog and a cat. I separate those from groceries. So, litter, dog food, cat food, stuff like that. $30 a month. But it's just absolutely insane, because after all this, how much do I have left over? $10. I have $10 left over. I don't really understand how, all these boomers and these older people are telling you just budget better, just do this, this, and this. I'm like, this is already my bare minimum budget. It's not like I'm buying coffee every day. It's not like I'm doing all these things that they tell you to stop doing. And yet I have $10 at the end of each month. So I think it's just like absolutely crazy that, I want to buy a house in the future, but how am I going to do that if I have $10 at the end of each month? And I'm in grad school. I have, student loan debt. I have some credit card debt. So I'm paying at least the credit cards off, monthly too. But I haven't started paying my student loans back. So how am I supposed to do this on this salary, which is the average American salary, probably honestly above the average American salary? So it just comes down to what system have we created in society? It just doesn't make sense, and it's not, sustainable for people. You have these people who spend 2-3 years worth of my own salary on a single birthday party for their kids, or a single vacation because they can, or a third boat. It's just absolutely insane, and I don't understand why people really try to diminish the experience of a regular person just simply because of the 1% that are just making life seem so easy. But I think it's just like the systematic approach that we're just not taking, and it's debilitating, and we're gonna see things just keep getting worse. And until there is some huge systematic change, none of these things are going to get better.
We're not. I'm a pharmacist, so I work in pharmaceuticals as a full-time job. I have a side business in event planning. I have a side business in social media consulting. And then right now I'm house sitting and taking care of these 4 dogs for some extra cash. And I'm still not surviving.
Now that we've seen the reactions, allow me to share with you a metaphorical story that you'll find relatable. Picture this: a person standing in an empty pool, patiently waiting for the water to trickle in. Hours pass and they remain steadfast, fixated on the promise of a full pool. But as time stretches on, something peculiar happens. They become so engrossed in their waiting game that they fail to notice subtle changes around them. Slowly but surely, the water begins to rise. It creeps up past their ankles, then their knees, and before they even know it, it's lapping at their waist. Still, they stand, oblivious to the rising tide. It's only when the water reaches their neck that they finally snap out of the trance. Panic sets in as they realize the precarious situation they have found themselves in. Suddenly, the reality of their circumstances hits them like a ton of bricks. This scenario, my friends, is not just a metaphor. It's a poignant reflection of the current state of our economy. For years, many of us have been standing in the empty pool, waiting for prosperity to come flooding in. We've been told to be patient, that better days are just around the corner. But as the years have passed, the water level has been rising, slowly but steadily. It's reached our ankles, our knees, our waist, and now is dangerously close to engulfing us entirely. For some, this realization comes as a shock, a rude awakening to the harsh realities of our economic landscape. The days of living with our parents, with a sense of security and stability, seem like a distant memory now. But here's the silver lining. Awareness is the first step towards action. As more and more people awaken to the true depth of our economic challenges, we have an opportunity to come together, to roll up our sleeves, and to start bailing out that pool. It won't be easy, and it certainly won't happen overnight. But by acknowledging the water rising around us, we can begin to chart a course towards a more sustainable, equitable future. It's time to stop standing idly and start swimming against the tide. From the reaction videos pouring in, it's clear that many of our friends are grappling with the harsh reality of living paycheck to paycheck, their pockets weighed down by the burden of credit card debt. It's a sobering reminder that despite earning impressive salaries, financial security remains elusive for far too many. But amidst this gloomy landscape, there's a glimmer of insight shining through. The stark realization that when it comes down to it, the necessities of life are non-negotiable. Food, shelter, healthcare, these are the fundamental pillars upon which our existence rests. And when faced with a choice between going without and accumulating debt, many opt for the latter, simply to meet their basic needs. It's a sobering reminder of the urgent need to shift our mindset away from the consumerism and towards a more sustainable approach to living. Instead of chasing material wealth and accumulating possessions, perhaps it's time to redefine our priorities and focus on what truly matters. But here is where the story takes a hopeful turn. In the midst of adversity, there lies opportunity. The opportunity to innovate, reimagine the way we approach life and livelihoods. As we continue our breakdown, we explore some innovative solutions emerging in response to these challenges. In the midst of economic uncertainty, it's more important than ever to master the art of self-control. Picture this: you're strolling through the aisles of a store, your eyes scanning the shelves for something, anything, to lift your spirits amidst the financial gloom. And then there it is, the perfect item, beckoning to you with promises of instant gratification. You reach for your wallet, fingers trembling with anticipation, and before you know it, the deed is done. You've made the purchase. But as you return home, the euphoria fades, replaced by a sinking feeling of regret. Why did you buy that thing? Do you even need it? It's a scenario that plays out all too often in today's consumer-driven society. In times of hardship, the impulse to seek solace in material possessions can be overwhelming. We convince ourselves that buying one thing will somehow make everything better, that a way will magically be made for us to replenish our dwindling funds. But more often than not, that fleeting moment of satisfaction is swiftly followed by buyer's remorse. So how do we break free from the circle of impulse buying and regret? It starts with mastering the art of saying no, not just to the temptations of the moment, but to our own desires and impulses. It's about recognizing that true happiness and fulfillment cannot be bought, that material possessions are poor substitutes for genuine contentment. But mastering self-control is easier said than done, especially in a world that bombards us with messages of instant gratification and endless consumption. Amidst the chaos of economic uncertainty, there lies a beacon of hope. The power of innovation in these trying times is more crucial than ever for individuals to tap into their creativity and resourcefulness to carve out new paths to prosperity where others see only obstacles. Take for example the humble backyard, a patch of earth waiting to be transformed into a thriving garden oasis. We've seen people across the globe embrace the joys of gardening, cultivating everything from tomatoes to herbs with their own two hands. It's a simple yet powerful act of self-sufficiency, a reminder that even in the face of adversity, we have the power to nourish ourselves and our communities. But innovation isn't just limited to the soil beneath our feet. It's also about embracing entrepreneurship and seizing the moment to turn ideas into reality, whether it's starting an online business or launching a bold new venture into the digital marketplace. Now is the time to take that leap of faith. And let's not forget the tax advantages of online businesses, a welcome relief to those burdened by the heavy hand of taxation. By harnessing the power of technology and the boundless potential of the internet, individuals can bypass the traditional barriers to entry and pave their own path to success. As we draw the curtains on this exploration of navigating through economic uncertainty, let's carry forward the lessons learned and the insights gained. In times of hardship, it is essential to remember the importance of innovation, connection, and personal care, seizing the opportunity to innovate in the digital marketplace or prioritizing our own well-being through healthy living and self-care. We each hold the power to chart our own course towards a brighter tomorrow. So, let's embrace the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead, armed with the knowledge that we are capable of overcoming adversity and thriving in the face of uncertainty. Until next time, stay strong, stay inspired, and remember, the journey towards prosperity begins with a single step. Goodbye for now,